Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen. Woo!
58. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. We do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Par-Mar set to cut the ribbon on their newest location, the TA Travel Center Amico, this Thursday at 11:30, 470 Frontage Road in Mineral Wells, just off I-77. Location's also going to have an IHOP, which should be open at some point next week. Remember, if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill Toyota. The Toyota Tacoma is your MVP, most versatile pickup. Head to the road to total savings, US 119 at Chapmanville, or visit ThornhillToyotaWV.com. Phone calls to the show with service of Bigley, Piggly, Wiggly, Spring Street, Charleston. Texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Taylor, located on Virginia Street in Charleston. Visit bestmastertailor.com. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day, or Columbus Day, if you prefer. And as I said, it's our first day in our temporary studios. We're in the midst of a total redo here at 1111. We've moved downstairs for now as our new studios are being constructed. The new ones will have all sorts of fancy gadgets, including TV cameras and whatnot. So this one's pretty nice, too. We'll post some pictures of the studio a little bit later on. Coming up on the show, former Charleston Mayor Danny Jones is going to be stopping by. Also, Tony Hodge, the vice chair of the state Republican Party, is here as well. Now, I want to welcome in the folks from Scareview Haunted School in St. Albans. Don, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
You and Jamie realize you are the first ever guest on the show, right?
That's kind of puts right in our character as scary.
Of all the politicos, of all I have, you guys are the first guests in the new studios.
That's cool. I like it. Gives us a little bit of an opening foray.
Opening what?
Foray.
You speak
an old turnage. I'm old.
Okay. All right. And Jamie's here, too. Jamie, good morning. Welcome to the show.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. So what do you think of the new digs here?
I like them.
Yeah.
They look good.
Pretty good.
Not bad.
You're a little mangled there, Jamie. You want to? I heard you telling the story upstairs to Steve Animal, but earlier he comes in and he's all bandaged up. Was that a was that a hazard at the Scareview?
That was a lockup hazard from the school.
Okay. What happened?
Just had a little entanglement with some glass.
And the glass won?
Yes.
It's kind of like the old Bobby Fuller song, I Fought the Law and the Law Won. So before I forget, I want to tell everybody where Scareview, the haunted school, is. Where is it located, Don? Or Jamie? Either one.
109 High Street, St. Albans, West Virginia.
Okay. All right. And it is a haunted school, right?
Yes.
All right. So how's it been going so far, guys?
So far, so good. We're rolling.
All right. Don?
Several thousand people roll through already. First 3 weekends.
Now, we were there live the Mountain. Our sister station, 987 A Mountain, Wild, Wonderful, Classic Rock, was there on Friday night, and Steve did a little video, and he and I shared it on the Mountain social media page. Didn't go inside, though, because I don't guess you allow that, right? No videos on the inside?
Try not to.
Yeah, well, I can. I know you don't want to give away too much here, guys, but what has been the big hit this year, other than Jamie going through glass?
The price.
Why is the price the big hit?
You got more bang for your buck.
Okay,
you
explain.
Bring the whole family for under $100.
Okay,
this room full right here couldn't go to other places and get in for $100 just with the four of us.
How long does it normally take to go through Scareview?
Depends. Like we've timed it just walking through. It was 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Animal timed it the other night, and he was waiting for like 40 minutes, 50 minutes.
Okay, I'm talking about the time inside the haunted house.
Yeah,
okay, that's what it is. Yes. So I guess it varies how it
Right.
How fast you walk or whatever.
On groups.
Yeah, obviously. Is there a certain size group? I mean, because you don't want to. I mean, I know you get groups, you get buses that come in from all over, but you take them in at what size?
8 to 10.
8 to 10. And why 8 to 10? What's the secret of the number there?
You want everybody to get a scare. If you've got more than 10 people, the guys in the back don't get anything. They're just like looking at eye candy.
Well, I could see that too, because again, and then it's harder to control because you have people talking among themselves and whatever. So you try to keep it at 8 to 10. And what is the price again to get in?
10 with non-perishable or canned foods and 12 without.
And I want to talk about, because you guys wanted, and you always do this every year, Don and Jamie. And again, we're talking with Don and Jamie of Scareview. You guys always employ some sort of a charitable aspect, and that's what you've done this time around.
Yeah, all the canned food is collected. Perishable food items goes to different food banks and churches around the area. Jamie can tell you more. He knows more about them than I do.
It all benefits the community of St. Albans. All that area, Coal River Road, Browns Creek, that area. It's all for the West Side Volunteer Fire Department.
Okay.
They take canned food. It goes to Christ Kitchens and a couple other churches right there in the area. Lower Falls Church fills up their food pantries for Thanksgiving, Christmas. So... Well, and all the proceeds go to the volunteer fire department for training, gear, side by side, just numerous things like that.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Poor indoor air quality can cause a variety of health issues like allergies, respiratory problems, and more. Pinnacle Consultants offers specialized indoor air quality services for residential, commercial, and industrial type settings. Visit pinnaclecorp.net because what you don't know can't hurt you. Let's talk about how people have reacted to this and bringing out the canned food.
No, 9 out of 10 people have canned food in their hands or something, even their kids.
Okay, I just got a text here. I need you to talk a little bit louder because apparently they can't. They can't hear you. Again, we're all learning as we go here, guys. We're all learning as we go.
Everybody in the family's usually got a canned food. All they need is just if you've got a family of 6, you can bring however much. It's I don't know how you explain it. It's huge as far as canned food stuff goes. We've got a box trailer up there. It's damn near full now.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. And how long is this going to be going on? Because we're getting closer and closer to Halloween.
26th of October is the last
26th of October. And you start at what time each night?
8 to 12.
8. So you're out there till midnight. This one,
yes.
And we do want to make sure people realize that there's a whole lot that goes into putting these things on. As you said, Jamie lost half of a hand apparently trying to put this little show on. But you all do it for a good cause, and you do it for the community.
Yes.
All right.
100%.
All right, so Scareview, are we going to be live out there Friday night? Is Animal going to be out there?
Yes.
The next 2 Fridays.
All right, Steve Animal will be out there the next 2 Fridays.
Well, like we tell people, when you get out of your car, we're going to scare you from the time you get out of your car to the time you get back in it.
And again, give us the exact location.
109 High Street, St. Albans.
109 High Street in St. Albans. Jamie, Don, I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for being our first ever guest. And we apologize for the audio issues. We're working on it now, but thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here.
Glad to be here. Enjoyed it.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to former Charleston Mayor Danny Jones is going to be joining us. Also, Tony Hodge, Vice Chair of the Republican Party of the state of West Virginia, coming up. Older adults should protect themselves against severe respiratory disease. Talk to your doctor about flu, COVID-19, and RSV vaccines. Risk less and do more. Get started at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Back after this from the all-new Parmar Store studio. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses have been creating jobs in West Virginia since 1997.
Calling all sports fans this season, the Toyota Tacoma is your MVP. Most versatile pickup. Hey, it's Sydney. And whether you're hauling gear or heading out for a weekend adventure, the all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma has you covered. Ready to win? Drive off in a new Toyota Tacoma today with rates as low as 4.99% APR. It's game time at the new Thornhill Toyota. Your new Tacoma is waiting on the road to total savings. US 119 in Chapmanville and ThornhillToyotaWV.com. Every fan, every team, every season, go Thornhill. All offers through Toyota Financial. See Thornhill for full details.
Creating a better future for West Virginia families. That's the promise of Andrew Anderson. Born and raised in Kanawha County, Andrew Anderson now raises his kids in our community. Andrew Anderson is an engineer and job creator with decades of experience in energy and manufacturing. Andrew will take his experience to the House of Delegates to create more jobs and end the drug abuse crisis that hurts our families. Vote Andrew Anderson for House of Delegates.
I'm Andrew Anderson, and I ask for your vote on November 5th for House of Delegates.
Paid for by Andrew Anderson for West Virginia.
The Kanawha County Sheriff's Office wants to remind you of a very important date. After October 18th, you must pay any 2023 delinquent real property taxes with certified funds or U.S. currency. No personal checks or credit cards will be accepted. After October 31st, all 2023 delinquent real estate accounts and the related current year assessment will be certified to the state auditor at the state capitol. Visit kanawhasheriff.us to learn more.
Welcome back to the show. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly Hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented by General Hardware of Winfield and Milton and General Lumber of Winfield for all projects big and small. Shop locally. Visit generalhardwarewv.com. Coming up on tomorrow's show, Angie Settle from Health Right will be here, plus State Revenue Secretary Larry Pack will be on the show as well. Tony Hodge, Vice Chair of the State Republican Party, coming up a little bit later on. And with us right now, former Charleston Mayor Danny Jones. Good morning, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. So what do you think of the new digs here, the new temporary digs?
This is a lot better than what I thought it would look like. I thought we'd all – no, really, I thought this is not your permanent digs.
No, they haven't started on those yet.
I thought this was going to be – we were all going to be standing up. You know, like when I cut promos and commercials for people, I thought that's what it was going to be like.
No, it's
no, this is pretty nice. I mean, it's not – well – it's okay. Well,
come on, Danny.
It's really kind of drab. It's nice. It's nice.
It's a lot better than the other facility.
Wait till Tony Hodge sees it.
Yeah, well, I can't wait for Tony Hodge to see this. So I'm going to ask you, because you're an old radio guy, as I'm an old radio guy. We have in the past probably worked in some less than stellar conditions. I don't necessarily mean here, but do you have a horror story on the air?
Oh, yeah.
You want to tell us about something that didn't work right or whatever?
Well, in '92, when these folks took this place over. See, I was in the Archmore faction of the party, and the people that took it over were not. So the four personalities, and that would include Dick and Sheets and Al Saley, me, and another guy, we were out. And the only reason Don Cook's job was saved because he was on the road doing baseball, because they got so much bad feedback when they fired us. And I learned, and I don't take any of it personal because that's radio. That's just the way things work. You know, you don't get you don't get rid of a personality and let him go on the air and say, "Hey, they're firing me. Do something about it."
No.
That's not the way it works. But I went up to Bristol, and they weren't even know I'm coming. So the morning I started, they gave me a thing to sit at by myself, taking calls alone, potting up my own stuff. I had no idea what I was doing, and I was in
kind of like
room.
me this morning.
I was in my but you're a professional.
But yeah, well, that's.
I was a barbecue man. I was down there making Danny's barbecue in the place to go, Nitro, West Virginia.
I mean, we've all got stories, though. I mean, I worked at one particular company. I bet you do, Danny. Keep in mind, it's a family show. I worked at one particular place that had a issue with sewage in the basement. And when I say it had an issue with sewage, I'm not talking about an odor. I'm talking about actually raw sewage that was running through the basement. And they asked me, they said, "Do you care to go down?" I said, "Stop right there. You're not paying me enough to go down. We'll call professionals in here. You're not paying me enough to go down there." But Danny, I do appreciate you joining us. I do want to mention, too, that you and I are going to be anchoring the WCHS coverage of election night. Of course, everyone's going to be watching the race for the White House, but there are some races worth watching here locally, some House races, legislative races we'll be keeping an eye on. And I think this battle for the county commission between Chris Walters and Natalie Tennant, Danny, I think it's shaping up pretty nicely, as is the race for prosecutor between Deb Rusnick and John Mitchell.
I don't know what to think about this commission race because I listened to you and Senator Tarr, and you said that Kanawha County gone red. For real?
Yeah.
By a lot?
Well, Tony's in here. Tony, do you have the numbers, Tony Hodge?
It's close right now, but it's definitely gone red. Yeah, we're ahead now.
Yeah, Republicans are ahead in Kanawha County.
First time in my life.
And Kanawha and Clay, I think, was the most recent one.
Clay,
I think. Is
yes.
that right, Tony?
Well, let me tell you, when I ran for sheriff, were you born in '84?
I was a baby.
All right,
I was.
So
I was.
I was raised. I was born in. I ran in '84, and it was 2-1 Democrat.
Wow. And
Governor Moore told me after I won the primary, he says, "Now you make your fight inside the Democrat Party." Mm-hmm. He said, "Forget. You can go have lunch with them if you want, but that's not where your fight is." So, and he said, "South Hills is your Cabin Creek," because Cabin Creek had a lot of people living in it then. So I canvassed every house on South Hills personally, left notes, called them back on their machines, and I walked off that hill with 2,500 votes and won the election by 11,000 in Kanawha County, and I was sheriff.
That was your. And how many terms did you serve as sheriff?
One term.
Just one term.
Then I went to the House, and there was 24 candidates running for 12 seats. And the Republicans were all mad because I didn't come to their meetings. I said, "Well, I'll probably get beat. I'm only spending $5,000 so out of 24 candidates. I came in first."
What do you make of this race for the prosecutor? Because we had kind of an ugly primary.
Well, I'm biased.
Okay.
Because
don't tell me that, because then you won't be able to do election coverage.
Well, I mean, I got to say I've contributed, but I've known John Mitchell and his father all my life. But I've contributed to Deb, and it's not personal. I think it's going to be a tough race. I mean. But Deb's been out there, and she's got a profile, and she's on TV now because she is the incumbent. So I don't know where that leaves. John has been elected, and he was a state senator for 4 years, so he has won when Democrats were winning, and maybe he can do it again.
Well, and I do think that it's rather interesting because, and maybe you have a different story, Danny, but I don't remember a time when I saw a county prosecutor doing television ads, and Ms. Rusnick is doing television ads, and they're airing quite frequently on the local channels. And there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't remember that I've ever seen that much of an interest in a county prosecutor's race. But it is the biggest, the biggest office and the biggest county in West Virginia. I understand that.
Charlie King did them. Bill Forbes, I think he did them. But that's when the Democrats were running things.
Talking again with Danny Jones. Tony Hodge will be coming up a little bit later on. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Live Healthy West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy, tackling pressing health issues. It's a podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles. It's a really cool resource to have. Check out the latest episodes on WVMetroNews.com. All right, so come November the 5th, 8, 9 o'clock or whatever, will you be surprised if we're not calling Patrick Morrisey the governor-elect and Jim Justice the senator-elect for West Virginia?
I'm not going to say how it'll be called, but it'll be called by 7:30.
By 7:30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when Arch got beat, it was 10 after 7. In 1988, when Gaston beat Arch, it was 10 after 7, the national. And I was heartbroken.
And that was
even though I became Gaston, we had 7 Republicans out of 20 that were trying to help Gaston. And I was one of them, and he's a good friend of mine. He's a good friend of mine today, but I was for Arch. And
it's interesting that they were able to call it that early, because we didn't have the election reporting systems in place that we have now. And, Metro News was obviously, not a thing at that point. And I know that the Secretary of State's office didn't have the what they call the election night reporting. I mean, to have it called that early then, that would that would be akin to having it called like at 7:35 now.
You had first thing, it was Arch got 41% of the vote, but you had select precincts in this county. The one that you could call the whole county was on the west side, and it was Robbins Elementary, which doesn't even exist anymore. And you could gauge the whole county by that particular precinct. And the national folks, and I'll tell you who's good at this. The New York Times is good at it, and Fox News is good at it. They have a room that Brett Baer and the rest of them aren't even allowed in, and that's what got what's his name fired.
Starwalt,
mouthpiece over here, and he
Starwalt,
yeah, and he because he was involved with that, and he got out. He was a little bit cocky when he said that Trump lost Arizona, and that cost him his job.
Yeah. Talking with former Charleston Mayor Danny Jones. While we're talking about national, what are you hearing right now, Danny? What do you think is going to happen in the presidential race?
It's the first time in my life I can't tell.
Really? Polling was there was some new polling, I think, from ABC News and Axios or ISPAS, I should say, that I'm not pronouncing that right, but anyway,
50 to 48.
It was 50 to 48, and
means nothing,
and that's
doesn't mean
well
nothing.
within the margin of error there anyway. So
and also you've got the down vote with Trump. It means nothing, and he's showing more strength. I said I was the big expert here. Don't look at Michigan. Don't look at Wisconsin. Well, guess what? Look at Michigan and look at Wisconsin because they're now in play, but. He has to win, and you remember this, Tony Hodge. He has to win. If Trump wants to win this election, Arizona, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. If he does, I predict he'll win. But Pennsylvania is going to be really tough because, the one thing, there's two people that have a lot of influence in the Trump camp, and it's Adelson, the wife of the late Los Angeles or Las Vegas Sands guy, and Twitter guy. What's his name? Elon Musk. Musk is putting $45 million a month into get out the vote because Republicans aren't good at that. They're not as good. I mean, these Democrats, they've got it down. They know how to vote harvest. They know how to do everything. Everything they accuse the Republicans of being illegal, they do.
Let me run something by you here, Danny, and here's what worries me most about the White House race. According to the polls, as I said, the race is so close, and unless Trump is completely blown out, which I don't think is going to happen, I fear that if Kamala Harris is declared the winner, we may have some things going on that may make January 6th look like a church picnic.
I think it'll be the other way around. If Trump gets elected, I think you'll have riots in the streets.
I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen, but I mean, it wasn't.
He doesn't have a throne. He doesn't have a throne now.
But he's got a. And please hear me out on this. I'm not saying everybody that votes or supports Donald Trump is in a cult. I don't believe that. But he does have a lot of cult-like followers.
Yeah.
And look what they did on January the 6th. And if it comes down to this race, I'm not saying, and again, please don't hit me up on the text here and say that I'm saying all people that are going to vote for Trump are in a cult. I'm not. I am just saying that it does worry me that they are not going, especially when their leader is pretty much saying that the only way, he said that, the only way that Harris beats me is by cheating. He said that.
Well, what do you expect him to say? I mean, that's his shtick. But he will have a tough time, and if he doesn't get elected, he'll squall, and they'll go to court. But remember, if the Republicans lose the House of Representatives, which I'm predicting they will, you can't act like that. You can't act like Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene and put those out, Nancy Mason, put those people out as the faces of your party and expect them to that's who you want as your leaders. Now the Senate's totally different. The Senate, I think, got a good shot at being 51, 52 Republicans. You agree?
I agree.
Yeah, and I'd like to see. Ohio, and I don't know how Montana stays Democrat. I don't get it, and what they expect to happen if you keep electing those folks. But it's because it's such a Trump state, and. But I think it's going to be a very tough race. I'm not as worried about that as you are, David. And it's not a cult. It's a religion. It's an act of faith. In other words, when you believe something, you're shown incontrovertible facts that this and this and this are true, and you chose to come over here and believe something else. That's not a cult. That's a religion. In other words, it's an act of faith with President Trump. They believe in him if he says it. I had a friend of mine, a real good friend of mine, not a college boy, and he said to me, he said, well, Trump says he's gonna deport all the illegals. He can't. The ones that have gone for asylum, they're entitled to hearings. You can't deport those people.
Well, and some of the things that are coming out of Trump, I mean, like, the Aurora, Colorado incident, for example, they had a incident. I was watching this over the weekend. I actually read an article about it too. They had an incident in Aurora, Colorado in a particular housing complex where there were some migrants that had come in there and were causing issues. It was not the entire town.
It was a few of them.
Yeah, it was a few, and they got rid of them.
Yeah.
And even the mayor of Aurora, who is a Republican, said, what Donald Trump is saying right now is not true. This was not migrants taking over the town. They had some bad folks that came in here into this housing complex, and they interviewed the tenants. And they said, no, once they got rid of these people, there hadn't been a problem. It could have just as easily have been Americans that did that, and it has happened with Americans in the past.
There's a thing, I think it was on Netflix, called How to Become a Tyrant. And tyrants don't tolerate any kind of dissent. And they went through Castro, and they went through Mao and Xi and all the well-known ones. But I, as you know, became an independent and didn't support Trump. I supported a libertarian. I voted for the libertarian in the last two elections, and I'll vote for him again. Because I've never voted for a Democrat for president. But when Kellyanne Fitzpatrick Conway came here with Dr. Price to visit the fire station, they had a young lady named Laura Truman call my office to direct me not to show up there. They don't tolerate any, as if I was going to do something and draw some attention to myself. Mm-hmm. I'd like to have met Dr. Price. Mm-hmm. He was head of HHR, and I'd watched him as a congressman. He seemed pretty civil. I don't care about her. But that's just, they don't tolerate dissent.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Text says, Dave, what do your guests think about the Trump campaign's plans to not certify elections in counties around the country controlled by MAGA people?
I don't think they're going to have any choice. I think the courts will step in. That's not going to happen, David. Mm-hmm. If they'll put it in receivership if they have to. Right. The federal courts will stay in. We have federal jurisdiction over all these elections since there's a presidential candidate anyway. Or if you deny one of the charges against President Trump in his fourth count in that January 6th indictment is a civil rights violation, that by denying the people the vote, that he violated their civil rights. And that's how they used to. It's a Klan thing. They used to get the Klan that way, but back in the 60s, because the state courts wouldn't convict him, so they indict him in federal court on civil rights violation. Well, that count number 4 in that indictment is a civil rights violation because he was trying to deny the people their right to vote by interfering in the election. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying he'll be found guilty, but that somebody that tries that now is fooling around with serious fire, because the federals will step in.
Text says, Dave, OMG, how could anyone vote Harris with her nearly 4-year record of devastating policies? Trump has a proven history on his policies. It's common sense, Dave. It's common sense, Danny.
Well, not to me, but I'm not voting for either. I wouldn't want my fingerprints on any of this. The best vote, I think, since Nixon, the best vote I ever made was Gary Johnson in 2016. I was involved in the campaign. I was the highest ranking elected official. I went to D.C. and was interviewed by people from all over the world.
Danny, before we let you go, text says, Democrats and independents for Harris won't storm the Capitol waving Harris flags over Harris loss. Danny Jones, why waste your presidential vote?
I'm not wasting anything in this state. We all know who's going to win, but I have my own preference, and it's a throwaway vote, and it matters. And if you don't think it matters, go back to '68 when George Wallace got 10 million votes and 13% of them. That's the election I watched closely. I really started watching them closely, and everybody after that was going, "How can we get the Wallace vote without dealing with the racism?" Well, guess who won? The Republicans.
Final text here says, wait, so you disagree with J.D. Vance in the response to Martha Raddatz? I saw that interview yesterday with Martha Raddatz.
That was disgraceful.
It was
disgraceful.
Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is a problem and not Kamala Harris's open border. Americans are so fed up, says the texter, with what's going on, and they have every right to be, and I really find this exchange sort of interesting. This is J.D. Vance talking. Interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that the apartment complexes in the U.S. Are being taken over by violent gangs. Well,
I watch that show every week, and it's the worst show on television. It is the most biased show, And any Republican that comes on there that gets grilled by those people is treated the way he was and the way George Stephanopoulos treats people. But the Democrat goes on and,
one thing I think that they need to get beyond, Danny, and then we'll let you go. One thing I think that they need to get beyond is every week on that show, whether it's the House Speaker, whether it's J.D. Vance, as it was yesterday, either Stephanopoulos or Martha Raddatz always says, they keep going back to that same question. Do you think that Donald Trump fairly lost the election in 2020? Most Republicans, are going to, especially in that position, are going to sidestep the issue.
Of course.
And because they don't want to be on record as saying that they think that he lost. But they need to drop that, though, in my opinion, Danny. I think they need, because you're beating your head against the wall as a journalist.
That's what they're trying to make news, and they're trying to say J.D. Vance admitted today that Donald Trump really lost the election when he knows he lost. I mean, Biden's the president, isn't he?
All right, Danny, you and I will be manning the election desk on election night, November the 5th.
I'm glad I got to meet Tony Hodge.
He's not a bad guy.
Well, I'm not a bad guy either, but he may not think that. I just told him a good story. So
he said it's going in the book, so
I'm ready.
But the book's not going to be published till after he's dead. He's already said that, right?
No, I'm going to.
Are you?
He's getting it done.
Am I going to make the book, Danny?
Yeah, hey, you came and stole my job.
I didn't steal your job.
I know you didn't. The book will be called, if I write it, will be called Call Me Danny, because that's the name I always wanted to go by, and people around where I grew up, they never wanted to call me that. They want to call me Dan or Daniel or something like that.
Call me Danny.
Call me Danny.
All right.
And that's my name. And over on the west side, it's Danny Jones.
we got to go. But Dave Allen
Danny
Show.
Jones is out there.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. The Birds and our sister station, The Beat, invite you out to Gomart Ballpark on Thursday, October 24th for Trick or Beat, presented by Salango Law. 2 sessions, one at 6 and the other starting at 7:30. You must have a ticket to be admitted. Tickets are available at our studios, 1111 Virginia Street East, during normal business hours. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Tony Hodge coming up next, back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses are small businesses with big impact, including Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness.
As retirement approaches, are you confident in your financial plan? At 4th Avenue Financial, they specialize in helping you to prepare for this important milestone. Whether you're concerned about income, investments, or leaving a legacy, John Burnett provides personalized strategies to ensure a secure and fulfilling retirement. Don't leave your future to chance. Trust 4th Avenue Financial to help you retire right with confidence. Your financial goals, their expert guidance. Visit them today at 4thavenuefinancial.com.
Securities offered through Jenny B. Cole Financial Incorporated. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Jenny B. Cole Advisors Incorporated.
Planning for retirement? Stike Wealth Enhancement Group is here to help you leave a lasting legacy. Whether you're getting ready to retire or already retired, we offer expert advice tailored to your goals. Imagine supporting your children or becoming a major donor to the Children's Hospital. With our guidance, you can enjoy your retirement and make a significant impact. Secure your future and create a meaningful legacy with Stike Wealth Enhancement Group. Start planning today at StikeWEG.com. Your legacy, our commitment.
Securities and advisory service offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street has served 3 generations of shoppers since 1955 as the largest locally owned independent grocery store in the area. The Joseph family owners grew up here, so you know they're invested in the community. They provide the biggest variety of choice meats, the freshest produce, an in-house deli bakery, great wine selection, and more of your favorite brands. Every purchase gives you gasoline points so you can save at our pumps. Order online for pickup at BigglyPigglyWiggly.com. Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street. No one beats the pig.
It is about 17 minutes away from 10. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. In the heart of West Virginia, there exists a profound force that goes beyond the realm of sports, transcending limitations and fostering a sense of belonging. Special Olympics, a remarkable initiative showcased in the latest episode of West Virginia Enriched in collaboration with Huntington, stands as a testament to the power of determination, unity, and unwavering support. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580 980 WCHS. Hoppy Kurtzville coming up at 10:06, Metro News Talk Line. Lots to talk about PEIA these days. Jeff Christian of the PEIA Finance Board will join Hoppy to talk about it. Plus, Sharon Halpert of Fox News Radio on the presidential campaign. Side note, as I said yesterday, new polling came out from ABC News, and it's both showing Kamala Harris with a slight edge. We talked about that earlier. Jonathan Savage from Fox News Radio is on, talk about some international stuff. Tony Caridi will join Hoppy to talk about the Mountaineers lost to Iowa State at home on Saturday night. Side note, at least they didn't give up a 23-3 fourth quarter lead like my alma mater, the Thundering Herd, did. Also, in addition to choosing candidates on November the 5th, voters in West Virginia will also be looking at an amendment that would ban physician-assisted suicides in the Mountain State. Brad McElhaney is on to talk about that and more. And your calls and texts too coming up with Hoppy. 10:06 from the Cove Insurance Studios in the Dale Miller Building in Morgantown. Let's bring in the Vice Chair of the State Republican Party, podcaster extraordinaire now, Tony Hodge. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Dave. Good morning. I'll tell you what. Following Danny Jones. That's when you told me before the show. You said you're going to be on after Danny Jones. I thought, oh my goodness, I got to go on after him because he's, it's hard to follow an act like that, but. We were sitting in the green room together, and I mentioned that to him. I said, man, I got to follow you. And he said, I've got swim class up at the YMCA at 10 o'clock. He said, so if I could go before you, I really want to make swim class. So I thought that was funny. But I have a lot of respect for Danny Jones. We don't always agree on everything politically, but he's been elected so many times as a Republican in what used to be a Democratic stronghold. And there were some lines that he had to sort of tightrope on. But he told me in the green room, he said, I've never been leashed. He's always been, he's kind of walked to his own beat. And
he's got his own band. He doesn't walk to the beat.
He's got his own band.
He's got his own dang band.
Yeah, it's like the Dick Van Dyke on Mary Poppins. He's got his own band. But he I have a lot of respect for that. So, but let me tell you something. He's got some stories. We were in the green room and talk about some color. That's a lot of fun. But
I was going to say, I've never seen your face that red when I walked downstairs.
It was it was eye opening, but it's entertaining. It's fun, and I hope he puts it in writing. Danny's been around for a long time, and we enjoy him. He needs to get this stuff down in writing because some of it you can't come on Dave Allen's show and say out loud. But
exactly right.
Anyway, looking forward to it.
Let me knock out some texts here. This one was for Danny, and I know he's listening right now. They tried to do it illegally in 2020 and will try it legally now that the Supreme Court is on his side, talking about Donald Trump. Not paranoid. He did it last time and has promised to do it again this year with actual elected and appointed officials. It's one thing to not support Trump. You need to speak against him. Text says, Danny is culturally liberal and most Republicans these days would have never voted for him today. Text says, why do people think a vote for anyone but the winner is a throwaway vote? Text says, enjoying the discussion. I don't care for Trump as a person, but I can't vote for Harris. We were better off economically under the Trump administration. So what is a voter to do? Text says, it's important to know which Republicans would go along with overturning results of an election. They're setting the stage for it in this election. There's a whole party of Republicans without the fortitude to say Trump lost. The Republicans who do have a pair have been excommunicated from the cult. I mean religion. I mean Republican Party. Text says, Danny is incapable of logic and reason. Trump supporters will not engage in political violence despite having did so January 6th. And when he was indicted, and at numerous rallies, libraries, school board meetings, etc., parades, etc., the disgraced Trump says that criminals who literally assaulted police with their own shields and batons while calling the cops traitors are political prisoners who are unfairly treated. The POS, I don't need to spell that out for you, watched the Capitol attack for 187 minutes and did nothing to stop it, but has been washed up Danny Jones. Okay, he didn't need to say that. Text says, I used to admire Danny, not wanting to put his fingerprints on either candidate. Shows he does not give a heck about our country. Well, I don't think that's entirely true. Text says, Dave, you can nitpick Trump, but his policies will stop the invasion at the border, improve our economy, stop men competing with women, says a texter. Tony Hodge is here. How's the podcast coming, man?
It's doing good. It's doing really good. Listenership is much higher than what I had expected. So it grows every week. So we're having a good time. I'll actually be I'll be podcasting today. It'll be out in the morning. We're going to talk with Delegate Adam Burkhammer. He's from up in Lewis County area, and he wants to talk about the foster care issues, child care issues, things like that are affecting our state right now. He's very, very passionate about it, and so we're going to have him on. He's going to talk about it, and we encourage the listeners, the voters, tune in. It's Viewpoint with Tony Hodge. You can find it on all your podcast apps, and it'll be an interesting conversation with him about something that's very, very important right now.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor is always happy to take your call. He's got a beautiful listing in Scott Depot. Check this one out, Tony. 75 Poinsettia Drive in Scott Depot. Stunning 5,600 square foot home. Too many features to mention here, but it does have 6 bedrooms, 2 half baths, 2 laundry rooms, and a full house generator to make sure the power always stays on. Call or text my good buddy Rich the Realtor, 304-932-7488. Let him tell you more about this property. Tony, I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Danny. Is there any way that come November 5th at, say, 10 p.m. or sooner, we are not calling Jim Justice Senator-elect or Patrick Morrissey Governor-elect?
What time do the polls close? Is it 7:30? 7:30. Jim Justice will be declared the winner of the Senate election at 7:30, and Patrick Morrissey will be declared the winner of the gubernatorial race at 7:30 p.m.
I saw some, I don't know if you call it polling or not, but I did see some numbers over the weekend that said there's something like a 99% chance, and I don't know what they based that on, just something I read, a 99% chance that Morrissey and Jim Justice win.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no question about it. Patrick Morrissey is a stalwart conservative in West Virginia. His record speaks for itself, but even more than that, his opponent, the mayor over in Huntington, which has been the opioid, central for the last several years, his ideas they might resonate with the base and core of his party. But look, this is a general election, and he's pushing ideas out there that go toward the core of his party, and he's supposed to appeal to everyone in West Virginia, and he's pushing these extreme liberal social issues. And I'll tell you the interesting thing. I hear a lot of Democratic Party leaders, they love to say that Republicans fight these culture wars. All they care about is the culture wars. Well, if you look at what the Democrats are pushing these days, it's all culture war stuff. So they can't it's not a one-way street. And Mayor Steve Williams, he's a culture warrior now. He's pushing these radical left social issues. And, here I'm just on here commentating. That's all I'm doing. I'm just giving my opinion, But it doesn't resonate with people. And so, yeah, but Patrick Morrissey's going to run away with it. Jim Justice, I mean, my goodness. I mean, you can't, he is a political force in this state, unlike anything I've ever seen. Arch Moore was in office when I was a wee little guy, as Mayor Danny Jones and I were discussing earlier. I was a baby, but I don't remember him as well. But I've never seen a political force like Jim Justice, and yeah, he will be the next United States Senator, and I think he's going to be that vote that will flip the Senate to the Republicans.
Before we go to break, what about the legislative races? You being with the state party, I know that you have to keep an eye on some races, not necessarily in this area. You're watching what goes on in Hampshire County and, whatever county, Monroe County across the state of West Virginia. Any way that we don't see even more Republicans elected this time? Well, I mean, any way that we don't is what I was saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, we may see more Republicans elected, but I'm going to tell you this. So we've talked a little bit about the national races. So Kamala Harris, she's a radical liberal. She's not going to get very many votes in West Virginia, but the Democratic Party in West Virginia has tethered themselves to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And I'm glad they have, because they're terrible for this state. Their policies do not resonate with West Virginia. Their policies will not help West Virginians. And the fact that they're tethering all of their down ballot candidates to the Harris-Walz ticket is just going to pull them down. And we're going to look. I don't want to be overly confident, but we're going to maintain our supermajorities, and we may increase them. West Virginians have clearly chosen the conservative Republican Party, and they have very clearly rejected the liberal Democratic Party.
9:53. We're going to take a break. For Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Bridge Valley. If you're interested in improving your company's IT workforce, know that Bridge Valley offers custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap. At Bridge Valley, train for little or no cost. With a 50-50 salary match, they can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships today. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
Welcome to Poca Valley, where we've been in business since 1908. Today, we serve Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties. We believe you deserve banking that provides friendly customer service. For all of your financial needs, stop by one of our 8 convenient locations. Call us at 844-782-2651 or visit us online at PocaValleyBank.com. Poca Valley, where relationships matter.
Member FDIC.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need Big Lou at Term Provider. If you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Remember, Big Lou's like you, except he's only on number 2. For your free quote, go to biglou.com. That's biglou.com.
Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com/stream. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, permitted parishes only, Massachusetts, Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, or Wyoming. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York or visit oasas.ny.gov/gambling. Standard text messaging rates apply. Sports betting is void in Georgia, Hawaii, Utah, and other states where prohibited.
Sick of negative headlines coming out of the Capitol and around West Virginia? Think the government should just work?
I'm Kayla Young, and as your delegate, I focused on putting money back in your pockets through tax cuts, fixing childcare, protecting our kids from abuse and neglect, and just making sure that everyone's getting along by working hard for you instead of culture wars that make your life worse, not any better. Like you, I know we still have some work to do.
This November, vote Kayla Young for House of Delegates to make West Virginia the best it can be and to make government more boring. Paid for by Kayla Young for West Virginia.
4 minutes away from 10, Dave Allen, Bigley, Piggly Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor, text 304-935-5008. Tony Hodge is here. Text says Patrick Morris, he's from New Jersey, says a lot that the West Virginia Republicans can't find a better candidate among them who's actually from West Virginia. What if the texter would have said the same thing about Jay Rockefeller?
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, we want people to come to West Virginia. We are open for people to move here. We want people here. And when people come, if they want to run for office, if they're good conservative people, we're going to elect them. So we're going to elect Patrick Morrissey.
Text says the MAGA insurgency has taken over West Virginia, and the West Virginia Republican Party gladly accepted it to all of our detriments. Text says, cackles constantly, I guess that's Kamala, constantly brags proudly how she prosecuted and imprisoned so many criminals. So why is she now the biggest advocate for ensuring these male criminals who say they feel like women can get taxpayer-funded sex changes? There's a reason that police unions and now the Border Patrol have endorsed Trump and not the former prosecutor, Attorney General, and Vice President Kamala. Yeah. Tony, real quick, when voters go to the polls on November the 5th, in addition to choosing candidates, they're also going to be looking at an amendment that would ban physician-assisted suicide in the state. Now, Brad writes about it, lead story this morning, posted to WVMetroNews.com. The Catholic Church is out with a statement that they support this ban. Explain your position on this. And this is your position, not necessarily that of the state Republican Party, although I have a feeling they're probably pretty similar. But go ahead.
The Republican Party is going to come out in favor of voting for this amendment. And so what it is, personally, I mean, we don't have a lot of time here, but it's a value on life. What we do, both sides of the political aisle, left and right, we will both fund programs that will discourage suicide. You can walk in to places, I always say all the time, I walk into one of my favorite bookstores in Charleston, and in the bathroom, there's a sign that says, feeling like suicide, call 988. There's help for you. Both sides of the aisle fund things that discourage suicide. And so that's all this does, is this just puts it in our Constitution that would discourage this behavior. We value life. We want people to have good end-of-life care. We want pain management care. All these things, none of that will change. All this is to prevent Dr. Kevorkian-style medical care coming into West Virginia. And so I was talking to a woman just this morning, and she was telling me about her father had an industrial accident and has had a hard go of it for several years, and she was kind of on the fence, like, well, I don't know, he's kind of depressed about his lifestyle, but her issue was if we put him in hospice, then he can no longer have the normal medical care that he needs. But then if we keep him in the normal medical care that he needs, then they can't offer pain management like hospice can. And I told her, I said, well, what that does, and what this whole conversation around assisted suicide does, is it magnifies problems in our healthcare system that we maybe aren't addressing right now. And so when we get this passed, maybe there's some things in the healthcare system that we need to address and fix.
All right. Happy Columbus Day, or Indigenous Peoples Day.
It's Columbus Day. Christopher Columbus was a great explorer. He thought he was going to the Indies, but he made it to America, and he opened up a whole new half of the world for people to live in freedom. And if you're against Columbus, you're against immigrants.
Thank goodness he didn't travel I-64. He'd still be in traffic. All right.
He was prone to getting lost anyway.
Tony, I appreciate you being here. Thanks to Danny Jones and the folks from Scareview as well. Hobby coming up with Metro News Talk Line at 10:06. Dave Allen Show brought to you part by Huston's Pizza. See you tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM 96.5 FM Charleston, 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here.